welcome back here on 5 at 6:30 on this Friday. We talk about the polls a lot. They are supposed to help the voters and the candidates gauge where they stand leading up to Election Day.
Now, depending on which poll you look at, some suggest Trump is gaining ground, while others say the race is all but over. But after today, who knows which ones are correct here?
That's right. Cliff Young, president of Ipsos Public Affairs, join us. So, Cliff, let me ask you, certainly today will have an impact on the polls. We're already seeing that. But I was looking at some of the polls from all over the country. One from the LA Times has Trump up by 2. Another one has Clinton up by 4. Another one has them in the tie. How are we supposed to make sense of all of this?
Well, yeah, definitely confusing, obviously. And so what's the best thing to do if you're out there, you're a citizen, you're a user, you're looking around? Don't look at any one poll, and I often say this on this program. Take the average of all the polls. That probably tells the best story. If you ever look at only one, it's a little bit fuzzy. And the average of all of them suggests that Clinton's up about 5 points or so versus Trump. Now, if you're a Clinton supporter, that's good news. If you're a Trump supporter, maybe that's not so good news. There's still a chance for Trump. We can talk about that. But right now, today, Clinton's up by 5.
All right. So moving forward, obviously, with the big news that came out, the emails and on Anthony Weiner's phone and Huma Abedin's, how do you move forward with this? Like, what kind of questions, in the polling, how will you be treating this moving forward?
Yeah, so like pollsters like us at Ipsos and others, we're in the field every day. So over the next few days, we'll be gauging whether this has an impact. Looking ahead a bit, I actually think this is already baked in. I think for the most part, unless there's a smoking gun that says that she did something illegal, that people have already decided whether they like her or don't like her as a function of the past. I don't think there'll be a big impact, but you never know. If there's a smoking gun, there could be.
All right, so there's no smoking gun, but, people have this idea in their heads, and it's unlikely that we'll find out the specifics within the next 11 days. So as you go out there and you're polling people, you really don't think this will make a difference?
I think it'll make a difference at the margins. Once again, this is all baked in probably already. People who have been paying attention to Hillary Clinton, whether they like her or don't like her, have heard things for the last 2 decades, right? I don't think this specifically will have an impact on the election unless there's some sort of smoking gun. That doesn't mean there won't be noise around it, but I think it moves the needle very little.
I also thought it was interesting taking a look at how many Americans think Russia is involved in trying to influence this election. Tell us what you found in your polling of that.
Well, that's often used on the Clinton side, the Clinton campaign side, that Russia's actually helping the Trump campaign. There is an underlying belief that that's the case. For the most part, that's the Republican base, not the Democratic base or independents. But that is there. There are kernels of that and inklings of that in public opinion that somehow the Russians are involved.
All right, and last but not least, as you're looking at Americans and you guys are doing this polling, I know it's been a big issue about the millennial voters. Are you starting to see any difference now as you're polling them on which way they're going to be swinging? And are they fired up?
Well, that's a very good question. Huge voting block. Indeed, they're as large as baby boomers right now. In the next few years, they're going to pass them. Very important today and looking forward. What we're finding, basically, they break very strongly for Hillary Clinton, but they don't show up on Election Day like older people. So the big question is, will they show up at historic highs for them or historic lows? We don't know. If they show up in mass, that's really good for Hillary Clinton. If they don't, that's better for Donald Trump. But they don't typically, on average, show up as much as older people.
All right. Cliff Young with the president of Ipsos Public Affairs. Thanks for coming in and talking about this.
Well, it's really fun. Thank you so much.
Come back. Again.
Yes.
And
yes.
again.
Again and again.
We'll be talking about this
Just like the polls, always there.
Yes, exactly.
All right.